Hi everyone and welcome back to Sonya's Prep. Today I'm super excited to be sharing with you how I made these Gozhgizhes. It's basically a meat-filled patty. This time I made it with some beef and a little bit of lamb fat. This is usually made by like our grandmothers and the older generation because they're perfect at it. They know the perfect ratio with the dough, and I was always very intimidated on trying to make this on my own. I was afraid of messing it up and not having the right dough texture. But after perfecting it, I wanted to share the recipe with you because I feel like so many of us just want to have the exact measurements of the dough and we'd make it. So here today, I wanted to share that recipe with you and I hope you guys enjoy it.
To make the dough, we're gonna need a cup and a half of water, 1 egg, a teaspoon of salt, half a cup of oil, and 6 cups of flour. Into the flour, I add in the egg, the half a cup of oil, the teaspoon of salt, mix everything up, and I add in the 1.5 cups of water, a little bit at a time as I go along until the perfect dough consistency forms. Once the dough comes together, I remove it from the mixing bowl and start kneading it on a table. I use the motion of bringing the dough towards myself and pushing it out with the palm of my hand. I do that until I get a very smooth and elastic dough. Now that there are no rough edges on the dough and it's somewhat smooth, I place it into the mixing bowl, cover it with plastic wrap, and allow it to rest for 10 minutes. While it's resting, we're going to get started on the meat filling. The secret ingredient is this one little apple that I'm going to be either shredding up or dicing up very small. And that apple does not give the meat filling any kind of fruity taste or texture. It just provides a lot of moistness and it makes the meat very tender in the meat filling. Next up, I'll be dicing up some onions, and the perfect ratio meat to onion is 1:2. So here I have about 1.5 cups of diced up meat. So I'm going to be needing at least 3 cups of diced up onions. So here I have the chukai roast that I have cubed up, and I also have a little bit of lamb fat in there as well. It adds loads of flavor. For the seasoning, I have 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of coriander, 1 teaspoon of pepper, and 1 teaspoon of the chicken powder. All of that adds tremendous flavor into the filling. I use both of my hands, which are the best utensils, and I give everything a very good mix. Now that our dough has rested and our filling is completely done, we're going to be taking that dough out and dividing it into 4 separate sections just so it could be easy to roll out the dough. Take each section of the dough, roll it into a ball using the palms of your hand, and allow it to rest for an additional 10 minutes. Now it's time to get started. I take one of the balls out, poke a hole into it using my index and thumb, roll it around, and then cut it in half. Roll it into a log, not to thin it out, but just to get it straight, and proceed to make little circles about 1 inch in thickness. Roll out each circle that has been floured. When rolling out each circle, I try not to press so hard onto the middle of the dough, but just around, just to make sure that the middle of the circle will have a little bit more thickness than the outer edges. This way it ensures that when I put the meat on top of it, the dough won't rip. This is the technique that I use to close it up into the classic Samsa shape, classic Gozhgije shape. So I pinch it and then just gather up the dough around the sides. And once all of that is done, there's going to be a little flap left over up at the top, and I pinch that over as well and tuck it under. Like I mentioned in my intro, a lot of Bukharian dishes don't have specific set recipes. So when you would ask your grandma or your mom, how do I make it? The majority of the time you're going to hear, oh, I eyeball it. I put a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And it's very intimidating for most of the younger generation, because when you're new at cooking, it's very hard to just gauge things. So I try in this channel as best as I can to experiment with different measurements and come up with the perfect ratio. So this is one of the videos that I wanted to create for a long time, and I hope you guys enjoy it. As you can probably tell, I have a visitor in my kitchen. It's my amazing mommy, so she's here helping me make these Gozhgizhes. With the amount of dough that we have here, you're going to get about 35 to 40 Gozhgizhes, depending on the way that you're going to be rolling out your dough. I only used half of this dough recipe and I froze the other half, so just an FYI, that's how many Gozhgizhes that you're going to get out of it. Now that everything is wrapped up, you're going to do an egg wash. So I take one egg, beat it very well, and start egg washing all of it. You're going to see in a little bit that my little helper comes into the kitchen and she is very eager to help me out. Once everything is egg washed, I take some sesame seeds and I place that over the top. You could also add nigella seeds over the top if you prefer. I place them into a preheated oven set at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's going to take between 35 and 45 minutes for them to be perfectly cooked. You know that these Gozhgizhes are cooked well when you have that beautiful golden color to them and that the bottoms are perfectly crisp. They also pair really well with this tomato dip. I took one tomato, shredded it up, added in garlic, some cilantro, salt and pepper, and a splash of vinegar. Give that a good mix and enjoy it on the side.
So as you can tell, this was not so complicated to make, and because there is a specific now ratio for how to make this dough, I hope all of you will give this a shot. So now it's time for the taste test.
Oh yeah.
How is it? I made this today because he really requested it.
It's not for you.
Can I have some tomato dip? Just a little. And thank you for the tomato dip.
Enjoy it.
Now let's give it a try. Mmm.
Incredible.
Good stuff.
Incredible.
Good stuff. You guys gotta try it. I hope you enjoy it. If you're new here, I hope you will subscribe, like this video, and give this video a big thumbs up, and I'll see you next time.